let's talk business. Alan, how many businesses do you own?
Well, I own many. That's a good question. So, how many businesses that I started and failed?
Yeah, let's go all the way back though.
Lots of businesses.
No, let's
right?
go all the way back because everyone sees your brokerage which is very successful. We're building the coaching company. You have 5 other businesses probably in addition to that, but let's go all the way back. I mean, you've been through a lot of trial and error. I mean, you said you started all the way.
Dude, like
when did you start your first business?
I started my first business like over 20 years ago.
Okay.
So I don't really talk about it that much because it was such a short stint. So here's what happens, right? So in 2003, I moved to Arizona with my wife, and I still had the same job, and I was in software consulting. And after about 2 or 3 months, they let me go.
After you moved here.
They let me go. I was making good money, I was making like 6 figures and everything like that, and they let me go. So I was like, shit, what do I do, right?
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not going to allow the corporate America to control me again.
Yeah.
Like, fuck that. I'm going to happen, right? It's not going to happen. I'm going to start my own business. So with a partner of mine, and by the way, we're still friends. Like, she's a good friend of mine and everything like that. We decided to open up a medical billing company.
Interesting.
Like, dude, I had no idea what I was doing.
What made you guys?
She was in medical billing. She was working for like a doctor's office and everything like that. And she's like, yeah, why don't we open up one? And I was like, all right, let's open up, I was like, might as well. So, and that was probably the shortest one. I think we probably did it for about 2 months, 3 months. I mean, she was so busy working for the doctor and my heart was not in it at all.
Yeah, that's a tough one to have your heart.
I remember we bought like software for it and everything like that. I think we spent like $5,000 or $10,000 on the software and like a bunch of marketing materials that we printed out. I remember going to like few doctors' offices and I was like, that's not something that I really want to do for the rest of my life. I just didn't really enjoy it.
Collecting.
So we shut it down after like few months. That was my first taste of like real business, being like a business owner, right? And then I kind of took a little like few months off. Actually, I tried to go get another job, like because when you got used to the a weekly paycheck, right? It's hard to kind of break those shackles off. Like when you're getting that consistent income coming in, when you have that quote unquote stability, man, like I'm 22, 23 years old. No, I was not 22. I was 25 years old, right? I was like, man, I probably need to go get another job. And the previous job was paying me good money. I was making like $150,000, $160,000
So you were 22 years old.
No, I was 25.
25 years old.
I was 25. 3 years married.
Making 6 figures at...
Yeah. And guess what? I was taking it for granted. I was thinking like I can go get another job, like a software job at that time and make that kind of money. Boy, was I wrong, right? So I applied for a bunch of sales jobs and they're all like paying me like base of $25,000, $30,000, like the most of the thing was like 40,000 plus commission. And when you're accustomed to making a certain amount and then you're like, wait a minute, you're telling me I got to be here from morning to evening, 5 days a week, sometimes 6 days a week, right? For like 30 grand. Yeah. I mean, there's a commission on top of it, but that commission is going to take some time. I was like, I'm not going to do it. So I got so frustrated. I got so fed up for like after 2-3 months, I was like trying to figure out what's the next move. And during the same period of time, my brother-in-law moved from New York as well. And he was like, hey, man, why don't we start a limo business? He was working for like a limo company here in town in Scottsdale. And I was like, dude, I don't know anything about limo business. Like, what are you talking about? So he's like, anyway, so like, let's do it. I was like, I don't know anything about the limo business. He's like, no, let's do it. You handle all the like business dev, like accounts, because you got sales background. And I can just do the chauffeuring, I can drive around and everything like that. So I was like, cool, all right, let's get it done. So we invested in 2 cars and we started our business, our company called Four Seasons Limousines. That was back in 2003, 2004. So that was actually like the real business that we grew to 7-figure business. And at one point, I think we had like over 20 cars. We had close to like 40 employees, part-time, full-time employees. Dude, but it was not easy. Like the first 3 years was fucking hell. It was tough.
Yeah.
It was really, really difficult. I was working 17 to 18 hours a day. I was dispatching. I was doing account dev. I was driving on occasion. I was hiring agents, not agents. At that time, didn't have drivers. I was training them. Like I was managing. Like I was doing everything. I didn't know anything about leveraging. I didn't know anything about like hiring help or anything like that. I felt like at age 25, 26, I was a Superman, dude.
Yeah. Well, I feel like that's something that you've taught me along the way is I want to do everything myself, and then I overexhaust myself. You're like, hey, we can find someone. We can have help. It's okay to have help.
But dude, it's okay, right? But in the beginning stages, you know, when like the finances are so limited, and for us, right, and we didn't know any better. We didn't know how to really grow and scale the business. And we basically felt like, all right, we have to do everything and we have to know everything and we can be good at everything, right? And grow it that way. And that's typically not the case. You're going to hit a plateau, right? Yeah. There's going to be a ceiling, right? And like as entrepreneurs, I think we are our biggest bottleneck, right? So I think what happened eventually is like I figured out like I can't do this 18 hours a day. Like literally, I used to get phone calls from hotels and resorts like at 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. Like from their bellman, from the reception desk.
And probably early mornings too,
booking
right?
for the early morning pickups.
Oh, okay.
Like seriously, dude, like who would do that nowadays? I would never do that. And then like at 3:30, 4 o'clock, I would be up, making sure that my driver's there on location and we're picking up the right guests. So I would sleep maybe 3, maybe 4 hours a night.
That's crazy.
Maybe, right? And that would be 7 days a week. 7 days a week.
Most people that's about the amount of sleep most people get in like 2 or 3 days.
But again, we're young, you know, we're eager, like we can even like I'll say stupid. Yeah, didn't really kind of like it and didn't know what we know now.
Yeah.
Right? But through just share of like hard work, you know, grit, right? Just plowing through, just pushing through, we were able to grow like a 7-figure business, right? So like that was really kind of like my first company that I grew from scratch, like literally from scratch.
How do you feel that benefited you for building the other businesses? You know, that business, because I know it's like totally different niches, like it's totally different businesses. How did those, I mean, were there certain takeaways from that business that you?
Oh, lots of takeaways. I mean, lots of good, lots of bad, and lots of ugly, dude. Like, I mean, the good parts of it were great. Like, you know, I was able to, again, to start something from scratch and build to like a good sized company, right?
Yeah.
But there were also a lot of bad things, right? Because it's a very capital intensive business. The margins are very low. It's also very seasonal, and you're also dependent quite heavily on the drivers. So if let's say the driver is not showing up or the driver is late because he misread the map, you got a pissed off customer.
Yeah.
Right. So that's not something that I really enjoyed. Right. And then the ugly piece of it happened in 2007, you know, when, you know, we had this crater, if you will, in the real estate world, just the economy in general. We had this great recession, right? Where we probably, the first 6-7 months, we probably lost about 70% to 80% of our revenue. No joke. It was that bad because a lot of our business at that time was like strictly retail. Like we would celebrate like anniversaries, bachelorette parties, night on the town crowd. Yeah. Like all of that stuff was happening, and we had a bunch of limos. Dude, all of that shit stopped. Yeah. Like all of that stuff. It was painful. It was so painful. Like we had to let go so many people, man. Like we had to sell some of our cars. A bunch of other cars got repossessed. Dude, it was bad. But anyway, it taught me a lesson that you can go through adversity and you can come out of it actually stronger, much stronger.
Yeah.
Right. And that's exactly what happened, because during that period of time, dude, I went through a lot, company wise, personally, financially. Dude, I was like $500,600,000 in debt. I lost all of my rental properties. I lost my own personal property. Like, I was broke.
$500,000. Wow.
Oh, easy. More than that, probably. I mean, not making any money for like 2-3 years and actually getting back into driving. Like, I was driving.
Wow.
Like, yeah, because we lost everybody. Yeah.
So like now that you had a feel of the businesses and everything, when you start a business, how do you lay everything out? You know, like what are the key things that I know every business is different, but there's the key principles that you base off of, or
I mean, yeah, you start a business with hopefully with the end of mind, like in mind, like what ultimately you want to do with that business, right? Like, another thing to start a business, like, is this something that you're really prepared to do? Like, because starting a business, it's not that difficult. Like right now, dude, you know this. I mean, we started business together, right?
Yeah.
And this business is gonna do over $1 million.
Yeah.
Right. Next 6 months, it's gonna do over $1 million.
Yeah.
But like, to start an LLC, it's like,
well, I went and did it in 15 minutes when we had to go switch it.
less than $100, right?
Yeah.
Like, think about it.
Yeah.
You know, there's a saying, I heard it somewhere, and maybe I don't know if I'm gonna say it exactly, but like, any idiot can start a business, but only few can actually like grow it.
Yeah.
Right, or build it.
Yeah.
Right. So you can start a business tomorrow, but there's just so many more important steps that go into actually like growing that business and ultimately like scaling the business. Not every business you're going to be able to grow or scale. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Right. So just that, but the things that I look for is like, you know, what is the TAM on that business? Right. You know, what's ultimately, you know, going to be the exit strategy? Am I going to sell that business, or that business more going to be for like cash flow?
Yeah.
You know, like, it can be a combination of both. And then I think like something that I actually enjoy doing. Also, that's another thing. Like, if I really want to business that I'm not going to enjoy, like for example, the medical billing thing, right off the bat, I kind of said to myself, I was like, I'm just not going to do this. This is not something that I want to do. You know,
you're already working overtime. You don't want to do something you don't.
No. So those are the things I think you look at when you're considering starting a business.